Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of the Big Blue News Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Beasmore, and of course, got my co-host Nolan Fleming with me. How are you doing?
Exhausted. Saturday really kicked my butt, but we'll get into Saturday. How are you doing, Chris? Has midnight to 8 a.m. working for you?
Oh, it's terrible, man. I only got a few hours of sleep before we're doing this podcast right now. I only got 3, 4 hours. Obviously, I stay up a little bit later once I get home, and that's my fault. But hey, at least I'm doing a podcast with you, and we still haven't met yet. Dang.
Yeah, don't let the first of all, don't let your bosses hear that. Second of all, yeah, we got to do that eventually. That'd be
Yeah.
a good idea. We could have done it this weekend, but I think things just got in the way a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, I hear you. But I'll go back to sleep though after this podcast so I can get some more sleep. So don't worry about that, Nolan. I'll get more sleep later today.
I
And
was just I was just worried to death about it.
oh yeah, don't worry about that. I'll get some more sleep. But yeah, you're not wrong. Saturday though, UK beat Florida single-handedly, and it was an insane game from start to finish. And I did not think Kentucky would blow out Florida like they did. The score obviously 33-14. Devin Leary and the wide receivers, they didn't have a big game at all this past game, but Ray Davis, he went off for the UK, and he could have potentially easily set the most rushing yards. But he didn't, and I'm happy about this win though against Florida for sure.
I'm very happy about it. I didn't expect it. I expected to win. I know we both predicted that in our preseason predictions. I
Yeah,
did not expect it to be 20 or whatever it was, 19 technically, but it was. I didn't expect a three possession blowout.
yeah,
That game was never close. Like literally from the first quarter, literally when we scored that first touchdown, he kind of just felt it. Or maybe when we scored the second one, because there's still the little it's Florida thing, but that's dead now. Like I said last week, and I think it's true. I think beating them this weekend put an end to the Florida stuff. I
yeah.
think beating them the way you did this weekend killed it. I don't think you'll hear about it very much more ever again.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And Ray Davis, he had an insane game, had 26 carries for 280 yards and three rushing touchdowns. And then he also had one receiving touchdown as well. So he had more touchdowns than Florida combined. He had four touchdowns this past game compared to
Literally
Florida.
twice the touchdowns they had.
Yeah,
Literally,
literally twice the touchdowns that Florida had. That's insane to Ray Davis to have four touchdowns compared to Florida only having two. Man, just killed him.
and he's in the Heisman talk now too. Is what's crazy. Did you think that of the running backs we've had here, Ray Davis would be the one that is like really, like truly in Heisman talk?
I did not expect that. Obviously, he won't probably win it, but hey, he's in the Heisman talks
There's
now
a
after
chance
that
that
game.
there is a better chance than people are giving credit that he ends up a finalist in New York.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I mean,
people realize that because I mean it's a quarterback award. Caleb Williams will probably win it.
yeah,
I
of course.
expect him to win it, and he probably should. I think he's the best player in college football personally. But
Dude,
but
yeah, I
they got
think,
to have a running back in there somewhere, and that could
yeah,
be Ray Davis.
yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think right now the top two people that will be at the Heisman Trophy right now would be Caleb Williams and then potentially Brock Bowers from Georgia as well. And we'll
Bowers
talk
is
about that Georgia game probably in a different podcast. We might talk about it a little bit today, but potentially in different podcasts later this week we'll talk about Georgia as well.
Michael Penix too from
Yeah.
Washington. He'll probably also be a finalist, I would assume.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, just I was not expecting Ray Davis to be probably the best player on the offensive side. I mean, I was expecting Devin Leary to be throwing two to 300, uh, 300 yards per game, and then I was expecting Ray Davis to get his. But so far, right now, just Devin Leary and the wide receivers, they haven't figured it out. I mean, I saw during the Florida game bad two bad reads. Either I don't know if Devin Leary was not on the same page with the wide receiver or the wide receivers weren't on the same
I
page.
think it's the wide receivers from watching the way that they reacted after the play. Very much looked like it was on the wide receivers. The one pick six, I don't think that was supposed to go right to the defender or that So pick six wasn't actually, but that was on the wide receivers because the coaches looked very irritated with the wide receivers on that play.
Yeah, and obviously you're not wrong. It wasn't a pick six, but an incompletion should have been a pick six, but
I was
yeah,
walking the sidelines after that. They were very, very angry with one of the, I forget which receiver that was. It might have been Dane Key.
yeah,
This is either him or Barry. I don't remember which one, but I remember that. And I don't blame Devin Leary nearly as much as other people do for those issues. And honestly, I don't dread on it too much for what happened in the Florida game and his performance. So I don't
yeah.
think he needed to perform at a high level. If Ray Davis is running, I think we did the right thing on offense. Liam Cohen really he called a great game against
I
Florida.
agree.
If the run game is killing them, which it was killing them, then you need to use the run game. Like if you're not going to use if you're not going to, you're probably hurting your chances.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I'm just going to look at the stats from 2023 to 2021. So both games were at Kroger Field. So Devin Leary went 9 for 20, 69 passing yards, and one touchdown. Hey, nice on the 69 yards, bro.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, he didn't throw a pick. People need to realize he
Yeah.
did. Oh, other than the one play, I think he actually did a good job holding on to the ball. I think
Yeah,
that needs to be looked at better.
I thought so too. And then back in 2021, whenever UK finally beat Florida at home, Will Levis only went 7 for 17, 87 passing yards, one touchdown, and one interception. So in both games at home, the quarterback, both quarterbacks, they haven't had big games. And Chris Rodriguez almost had over 100 yards that game. He had 19 carries for 99 yards and one touchdown 2
That
years.
game was a lot more defensive driven though than this one. I think this one we were just dominant on all fronts.
I agree 100%. And I think the craziest play we saw was whenever Deion Walker helped to cause the
Oh,
interception.
what a play! What a
Yeah.
play, dude! I didn't
Yeah.
expect that. I thought he was just going to get deflected, and I was just shocked when I saw it was a pick.
Yeah.
That was a great play, and the sack on Mertz at the very beginning in the first drive. Who was that made that hit?
I can't remember.
It
I
might
know
have been
what
Deion
you're
Walker.
talking about, though. I do remember the sack, but yeah, for Deion Walker to drop back, to have eight people dropping back, and then Trevin Wallace going to rush the quarterback, and then as soon as he throws it, Trevin Wallace starts to run back. He sees the ball, get deflected after a big hit from Walker, and Wallace gets the interception. Basically, after that, it was mainly UK. I mean, they scored a touchdown from there, went up 10-0 against Florida, and basically the rest was like history for the most part.
Yeah, and I think I just talked about that sack because I think that set the tone for the rest of the game. I think that was huge. Crowd, by the way, oh my goodness, that could have was that better than the Florida game 2 years ago? Because
No way.
I don't think it was, but it was insane crowd. It was a very good crowd. It
For
was still a top 10 crowd in all time at
Yeah,
Kroger.
I agree with you 100%. And I definitely think the fans were pounding some beers before
Oh
the
yeah,
game.
a lot. There were a lot of shooter bottles around the stadium.
Did
But
he did he see many people shotgunning some beers?
yeah, a lot actually in the parking lot. Uh, SEC Nation was a lot of fun though. A lot of people were there. Pre-game festivities were just incredible. I
Yeah.
mean, probably the best they've been in a long time
Yeah.
around here.
Yeah, I wish I was more a part of the pregame festivities. I didn't get to Lexington really until really late. I got to the press box or media box about 15 minutes before the game, so I was definitely rushing trying to get to the game just because if y'all have been listening to my podcast, my car got totaled, so I'm just waiting to get a new car and I went up with my parents on Saturday to the game and obviously I went to the media box to watch the game.
Yeah, that had to be fun for you.
Yeah.
Student section was crazy. I was there. I was in the student section. It filled up very quickly. Very quickly.
Yeah.
Uh, Great, but like I said, the crowd was really, really good. The blue white thing. I'm glad that we keep doing that. We need to do that every year instead of just the Florida game. I don't think we did it last year. We need to do that. We need to find a game next year as well to do that for. I think like Georgia or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we do the blue white chant, almost every game, but it
Blue
isn't
white
as
game
big.
in general.
Yeah,
It's just something. I think People will remember. People are going to forget 2 years ago when they introduced that idea. A lot of the fan base was dogging on it. They thought,
Yeah,
"Oh, this is stupid. Why don't we just do all white or all blue or
yeah.
something?" It has ended up being a thing. It is a huge event, and I love it. It's like my favorite thing ever, and I think we need to do it a lot more.
I agree with you 100%. And honestly, it needs to be at a big game for sure next year, probably in Georgia. I'm interested to see what UK does for either like Alabama or Tennessee this upcoming year. And I think both of
Absolutely.
those teams are beatable.
I think they are too, and I think those games for Kentucky are going to be a lot bigger than we thought. I think there's a very good chance we go into both of those games with one loss, or Alabama with two losses, but still a chance to do something.
Hey, is it possible going to the SEC championship this year, 5-0?
Oh, it's a lot more possible than it's been in a long time, I think.
I think so
It's more
too.
possible than it was in 2018. As weird as it sounds, I think Georgia's actually beatable.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Georgia, I know, in a different one, but I don't know that we're going to beat them. I'm not willing to say that,
Mhm.
but they're vulnerable.
They are vulnerable. You're not wrong. And then
Watch that
also,
Auburn game. Did you watch that
yeah.
Auburn Georgia game?
Yeah. Real quick about Georgia, and then we can talk about recruits. But yeah, they don't have their starting quarterback. Stetson Bennett obviously went to the NFL draft, and then Georgia, they also lost their offensive coordinator Tom Monken to the
Yeah,
NFL. He went to the Ravens to be their offensive coordinator, and the Ravens have been playing a
they're
lot better.
yeah they're very good on offense this year, and yeah, their offense has struggled, kind of like they were before last year or before they won the titles.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I think Kentucky has a better chance. It's going to probably be like it is every year. I expect it to be low scoring defense. Really defensive game. It's always in the mud for some reason in that game.
Yeah, let me see what the point differentiation. Yeah, I can't say it right now. Let's see how far Georgia are favorites right now against
19 and a half earlier.
19 and a half. Let's go. I'm trying to find it right now as we speak. I'm sure I probably already had it pulled up, but I did not. And right now, the line has gone down to 14 and a half right now for Georgia.
That's surprising. A lot of people taking the under on that.
Yeah,
I don't.
I would definitely think Georgia would cover 14 and a half in my opinion.
I would at one point, but I don't know. A lot of people, there's a lot the talk of the town. I know on like ESPN, all that stuff. A lot of people think Kentucky's got a chance.
I think Kentucky does have a chance, but I just
I'm
feel
not
like,
willing yet. I'm just not willing yet.
yeah, I just feel like,
Good, great, but if
yeah, I
go
just feel like Georgia will probably eventually pull away towards the end of the game. But we'll obviously wait and see what happens. We'll talk about that in a different podcast. But I also want to talk about the recruits that were at Kentucky. And wow, it was a big weekend for
huge,
Kentucky football
huge
with
week.
recruits. Obviously, we had Cutter Bowley there, Jaron Jacob Smith, Brian Robson, Jasmine Smith, Willie Rodriguez, Ava Selm, and Stone Sanders. And obviously, it could be a big week for Kentucky football. Brian Robson, he's going to be announcing his commitment on Wednesday. We don't know what time exactly, but a lot of people are thinking he will end up being a Kentucky Wildcat because he's only gone on two visits this year, and both of them were at Kentucky. And
Uh, Little scoop on the Brian Robinson thing. If you don't mind me interrupting you,
oh,
sorry,
go ahead.
but
Go ahead.
I heard this might not be true, but I heard that he wanted to maybe announce on Saturday, but that his family, I think, said that they had like some sort of event or something they were wanting to throw him for when he announced his commitment. So that's why it's Wednesday.
Mhm.
Again, it might not be true, but I that's the word, and I think it is, but we'll find out.
Is it scuttlebutt?
I don't know. See, I thought that at first, but now I've heard it from more than one person now. So
Yeah. Yeah,
we'll
well,
go with scuttlebutt, but that looks good for Kentucky. Let's just say that.
yeah, it does look good for Kentucky because right now I think it's down to between probably Michigan, Penn State, and Kentucky right now. Those are his top three. Obviously, Maryland and Tennessee are also options, but I think his top three schools right now probably Kentucky,
Yeah.
Michigan, and Penn State.
And I think it's down to Penn State or Kentucky. I think Michigan's done.
You think so? Why do you
Yeah.
say that?
I got my ways.
He got your ways. He's got his sources, but yeah, I feel bad for Michigan. They haven't been doing doing really great recently with recruits with Kentucky. I mean, lost Jared Jacob Smith, about to lose Brian Robinson. I mean, I feel bad for Michigan.
Yeah, they're very mad at Kentucky fans right now. That's been a big thing. They're really angry at Kentucky. I mean, I don't know how Kentucky keeps getting these guys from Michigan. It's really impressive, but thank you for losing them. Thank you so much for striking out on these guys because now we're gonna have like an all-time class here
Yeah,
because
it's because Vince Merrill got that dog in him, unlike Stephen Klinkskill.
oh man, that was do that again. That dog is that what you
Yeah,
said?
Vince Merrill got that dog in him.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess that's a good argument. That's a strong enough argument for me personally. I think the Vince Merrill is a good recruiter. He's probably one of the best in the country. Like,
Yeah. But another big recruit that was at the game was also Rico Scott. And I know you and I we were both talking about that he would be at the game and potentially there could have been a flip. Obviously that didn't happen this past weekend. But man, Rico Scott being at the game along with his teammate Stone Sanders this past weekend, things are heating up in my opinion on the football side and it could potentially happen. Rico Scott could flip from Alabama to Kentucky, which would be the biggest get, I think, in the Mark Stoops era to change someone from Alabama to Kentucky.
yeah, that would be insane. Especially considering Alabama's history with wide receivers. Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, Devontae Smith, just all those guys. Literally all those guys at some point were considered like I mean, Julio Jones considered one of the greatest wide receivers to ever play. But that would be something. I know I never really was like totally confident that was going to happen this weekend. I know that was maybe something that they wanted, but
Mhm.
didn't. I never thought it would actually happen, but I think that things are leaning that way. It looks like I know me and you have really, really done a lot of investigation lately on. So, but if we can get him, it'd be great. I know obviously Stone Sanders wants him here.
Yeah, obviously Stone Sanders wants him here. Stone Sanders is currently his high school teammate and quarterback. But the only thing is Sanders, he's class of 2025. Rico Scott, he's in class of 2024. So he would have to wait a year to play with his teammate. That's the only thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's going to be a big reason why he's going to come here. I don't know. Stone would probably be quarterback. What his junior year probably.
Yeah. If,
Because he comes in the year after Cutter, doesn't he?
yeah, because Cutter reclassified to 24, so he's in this year's class.
So Cutter will get like probably sophomore, junior, senior year, and then Stone gets like junior and senior.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens though, with definitely in the future with the quarterback position because
Oh yeah.
obviously I think Cutter Bowley will be the starter. Obviously not probably his freshman year, but I think DK will probably go out get another transfer probably this upcoming year after Leary leaves.
Yeah. Who do
Draft.
you think that could be? I know we're starting this early, but you know what I think is funny is that, and I know nothing. I'm literally just rambling here pretty much. We could get one of the Alabama quarterbacks probably if we
Jalen
wanted.
Jalen Milrow.
No, I don't know. It's going to be Milrow.
I know.
He's the starter there.
Yeah,
But Bucker or Simpson, probably Ty Simpson.
yeah.
I don't know
But
that they're that great. Don't get me wrong, but isn't it funny how we could potentially get an Alabama quarterback?
DJU.
Now
That up again.
he's he's looking better at Oregon State.
Yeah, I've been at Clemson, Dabo Sweeney. Oof.
Yeah, poor guy. No, not poor guy. I don't like Dabo one bit. But his ego really in check is really in check now. They're not good at all.
hmm You're not wrong at all. I mean, Clemson, all big schools are struggling this year. Alabama, they are. Georgia has been struggling. Obviously, Georgia is still undefeated, number one, but they've been struggling a lot this year. I mean, they were down, 14 to like 3 to Georgia, or not Georgia, South Carolina at one point.
Yeah, and Auburn was up on them. I thought Auburn had a chance to win that game, and they
Yeah.
did too.
Yeah. I mean, if they only like doubled Brock Bowers.
Yeah, because literally their offensive scheme after they went down 20 to whatever it was, 20 to 17, 20 to 10, whatever, was just throw it to Brock Bowers every time, which is a smart idea. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that, and it'll be an interesting matchup this upcoming Saturday to see what Brad White does against um Georgia and also Brock Bowers. It'll be interesting for sure.
Oh yeah, double him, triple him even.
Double and triple. Yeah, basically like Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill whenever they were on the Chiefs together.
Yeah.
But the other day also Vince Merrill, he was on the radio talking about just how the BBN they did great this past Saturday against Florida, and basically saying like the noon game felt like a 7 o'clock game due to the atmosphere. But he also said that a recruit talked to him and he said it was a high profile school that he's committed to, and he was just very excited to hear something, I think, from this recruit, in my opinion.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Who wonder who that recruit could be?
Yeah.
Who could that recruit possibly be? I have no idea.
Yeah, I wonder who it is. More than likely he's referring to Rico Scott. But y'all can listen to what Vince Merrill had to say about the crowd and the certain recruit that he was referring to.
I can't even tell you how many guys and their parents were like, "Oh my God, I never knew Kentucky was like this." One kid that's committed to a top 5 program, he was like, "This is the place to be." And so I just take my hat off again to the fans and the people, the workers at the stadium. It's all. It ain't just one person. It's a machine, and you've got to give credit again to. I'm telling you, those fans were off the chain. They really did listen to Mark what he said last week. So it was a very very great to see that.
But yeah, obviously, due to NCAA rules, he cannot refer to who the recruit is because obviously he's not signed on the dotted line, or nobody is signed on the dotted line until
Yeah.
December for National Signing Day. So obviously, if he mentioned a recruit, he would get into trouble. The university would get into trouble. But yeah, more than likely, he's talking about Rico Scott.
Yep. Very good chance he's talking about Rico Scott. Who else do we have that's committed to a high profile school right now? The Smith twins are already committed here. So
Yeah.
yeah. No, I like we said, it would be great to get him.
Yeah, it would be great to get him. I mean, to finish out the class with Brian Robinson and Rico Scott, I think that would eventually lead Kentucky to having a top 20, I think. Top 20 commit, with the class this year.
Yeah, and probably be ranked next season going into the season too. I mean, it'd be a lot of hype around the team
I
because
thought
there's
I
gonna be a
thought
lot of key players on this year's team gonna be coming back too.
yeah. I thought this past year UK should have been ranked going into the season. Obviously, after the first 3 games, they didn't really show why they should have been ranked,
Yeah.
but I thought preseason they should have been ranked in the top 25 between 20 to 25. But luckily, now we are. UK went from number 27 in the latest poll to being number 20, and it'll be a top 20 matchup on Saturday also.
I think we should be higher than that, and also we're probably ranked in the top 20 because of TV. It's a TV ranking, so we can pop a rating. That game's gonna have a lot. That game's got a lot of eyes on it, though. I don't think people realize. I mean, there's about as much attention on it this time as there was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Minus game day being there. I know game day was there 2 years ago. It's not there this year.
SEC Nation though, back to
Yeah,
back week.
still talking about it all the time on Sports Center and stuff because like I said, people think we have a chance,
Mhm.
and whether we do or not, I don't know. I kind of feel like Georgia's going to be pissed after because that just tends to be what they do. It's just the Georgia way.
Yeah,
Uh,
Georgia way.
they the rat poison and all that stuff. I mean, they will beat us by 50
Oh, don't say that
because
now.
of that.
Don't say that now. But
Well, yeah, we'll find out. But I'm a pessimist.
hey, what's the saying that people always say now?
No, what is the saying, Chris?
How about like instead of the actual bad word, you say like forget you and find out.
Yeah, yeah, probably a fair point.
Yeah, can't be cursing on this podcast. Gotta keep it like PG unless like a player wants to curse, on here, like a former player.
Yeah, but I'm excited for Saturday. I know we're not supposed to talk about the Georgia game, but I am excited for it. I'm more excited for this game than I've been for any game in a long time.
Yeah, I'm excited about that game as well. But going into the final 7 games of the year, obviously we're not even to the halfway point. Saturday we will. But what do you think UK will be at the end of the year? They still have Georgia at Athens, obviously, Missouri at Kroger Field, Tennessee at Kroger Field, Mississippi State at Starkville, Alabama at Kroger Field, uh, South Carolina at South Carolina, and then Louisville at Louisville right now.
That is a murderer's row too, but
Oh, I know, man. I know.
it's a terrible, terrible schedule. Um, uh, I think we lose Saturday, but I think we beat Missouri. I think we're going to beat Tennessee. I think we're going to beat Mississippi State. I think Alabama probably does get us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we might lose to South Carolina, but I think I still feel like we either win South Carolina or Louisville.
I think we win both, honestly.
I'm gonna say 9-3 or 10-2.
Yeah.
I don't think 8-4, and I don't think 7-5. We're gonna get a game we're probably not supposed to because that's kind of what we do all the time. And I don't think that was the Florida game. The Florida game, we were favored and all that. I think we all thought we could win that game, or we
I
were going.
think I think the catch game for UK, I think it will be a surprise right now. Obviously, I wouldn't have said this before the season started, but I think the catch game for UK is against Missouri because if you
I
lose,
think it is too.
I think if you lose to Georgia, obviously UK has had a problem over the years to lose 2 or 3 games straight after losing one. So with Missouri now being ranked number 21, I think it could be a catch game after potentially losing to Georgia. Hopefully UK wins and we will be on a high horse against.
And there's a good chance that game's going to be a primetime ESPN game, is what it looked like. If we either win this weekend or Auburn loses or LSU, will be the 7 o'clock ESPN game.
That would be insane for sure.
We
But
get that here for Missouri. That's crazy. First of all, the Missouri Kentucky game on the night slot in ESPN. What?
yeah,
But
that hasn't happened probably since.
but if we beat Georgia, we'll jump into the top 10 quickly, maybe
Yeah.
even top 5. And
I wouldn't say if we beat Georgia, I would say we definitely move up a lot. I would say between 10 to
Oh, we'll
12.
be top 10 if we beat Georgia. Maybe not top 5. I might be stretching it there. We'll be top 10. We'll jump everybody
I
because
don't know, man.
Georgia won the title 2 years in a row. Georgia was seen as unbeatable going into the year. We beat them. We're Kentucky and all that. Cinderella story, all that stuff. We'll be top 10, but we'll definitely be top 10. Might be like right at 10 or 9.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, 10 to 12. And hopefully UK does beat Georgia. We'll have a lot going into that game. Obviously, in our next podcast, we're hopefully going to have great things to talk about with Brian Robson potentially committing to Kentucky and then also this Georgia game. So hopefully we have some good news to talk about later on this week. But yeah, in my opinion, I think UK probably loses to Georgia 5-1. They probably beat Missouri 6-1. I'd say the way that Tennessee is playing right now, we take the win. I would say then 7-1. We beat Mississippi State 8-1. Lose to Alabama 8-2. I'd say we beat South Carolina and Louisville to finish up the season
I
potentially.
think we do have a better chance at Alabama than we think, by the way.
I do think so too.
I think we actually have a shot in that game. I think we can catch them. Maybe not beat them, but definitely play them a lot closer than we played them in a long time.
Hey, I've been saying all season, preseason too.
We don't want Bama.
We want Bama.
Like that game. No, we don't want them. They hear that, they're going to beat the crap out of us.
Oh.
I don't know. This Bama team is a little weaker than they have been. Also, they'll rush the field definitely if we beat Alabama, and that would be fun.
Oh, that would be a lot of fun. Obviously, I would still be in the media box, so I can probably
I'd be rushing the field. I'll be rushing the field.
You can be rushing the field if that does happen. Yeah, there's so much history right now on the line for Kentucky. I mean, the next 3 or 4 games could easily make or break the season for Kentucky football. Obviously, they were able to drown the Gators this past Saturday, but they have to keep that momentum going into week 6 of the season against Georgia. And I'm just excited to see what UK can do. I mean, last year at this point, UK, I forgot what they were. They were 4-0, 5-0, and I was pumped. I'm like, we can beat Ole Miss, and then obviously the season just went downhill after losing to Ole Miss.
Yeah,
And
this is different though. We're
yeah,
5-0, but we won our big game.
yeah. Well, I mean, we won
We
our big
didn't.
game last year against Florida.
No, I don't think. I don't know that I'd really Georgia. Florida was not probably our big game. Our big game was probably Ole Miss
You
last
think
year.
so?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think because I just think this was our big game, and I think we won it. And I think this is going to be different this year. I really think so. I don't think we're going to end up. First of all, the offense is just worlds better.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a totally different team, and we're actually like one of the best, one of the most high, one of like the highest scoring teams in the entire SEC,
Mm-hmm.
and actually a lot higher in the country than I thought we were. But I'll say this, and then this will be the last thing I say. If we beat Georgia, the SEC's open. The
Yeah.
East is wide open. The SEC in general is open.
Mm-hmm.
I legitimately don't think there's a team in the entire SEC other than Georgia that I look at and go, we cannot win that game. I think if we beat Georgia and somehow win the East, and we went to the SEC title game playing for a playoff spot, I think you'd either be playing Alabama or A&M. That'll be determined this weekend,
Yeah.
or
Uh,
by us if we
all,
beat them.
all I know is I would definitely ask off from work or even make it a weekend trip to the SEC championship game if
Oh,
Kentucky.
like I wouldn't. I'd go. I would go.
Yeah.
I'd
I
figure
would
it out.
I would definitely go. I mean, all I know is the hype. There's a crazy lot of hype around Lexington right now, especially after beating Florida, blowing out Florida. And it'll be interesting just to see what UK does against Georgia at Athens. I'm excited about the game. And I'm interested to see what Florida does in the future. Will they get rid of Billy Napier after this year? I know he's struggling. This is his second season there, but he's been getting all these top talented recruits uh this upcoming year for 24. So it'll be interesting to see what Florida does, I think, also in the future.
I think it will too. And this will be the last thing I say. Is I actually got to go, but life and all that. But other than stay sober, go big blue, have fun, don't have too much fun. I don't know. It's great. This is a different football team. I think this is going to be a year that we're going to remember. I don't know. It just feels like it. Something feels different this year than it ever has.
I mean,
And
that's what I said last year, sadly, and then
this is
so
different.
what
This is
happened.
different. Last year, I still was skeptical. I was still skeptical last year, personally. I think when we lost to Ole Miss, I think I just kind of thought there were still a lot of games that we weren't going to win. And the SEC, and also getting Georgia as early as we are, I think is better.
Hmm.
Not playing them at the end of the year is going to help. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Got a chance.
it'll be interesting. The buzz around Lexington is definitely a lot different, in my opinion, and I'm excited to see what UK can do against Georgia. We'll have more about that in a different podcast later this week, and hopefully Brian Robson also commits. But that's all we have for today's podcast. This is Chris Beasmore and Nolan Fleming signing out from the Big Blue News Podcast. Thank you all for watching and listening, obviously on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. We appreciate you all. And Nolan has already left, so I guess it's me already signing out. But yeah, this is Chris Beasmore signing out. Thank you all again.